Hello, lone wolves. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation. For some, hitting the lowest point isn't a sign of defeat. It's the solid ground from which they rebuild. You're not here because you surrendered easily. You're here because something inside you refuses to quit, no matter how hard life tries to drag you down. This isn't random. It's not weakness masquerading as strength. It's Sigma energy, quiet, focused, relentless. Sigma males don't broadcast their struggles. They don't wear their pain like a badge for sympathy. When everything falls apart, they don't wait for a savior. They build their own damn lifeboat. It's not about putting on a show of toughness. It's about being mentally wired to keep moving forward, even when logic says otherwise. If you ever felt like you're walking a path no one understands, if you kept pushing when everyone told you to stop, if you've looked at failure, pain, and pressure and thought, all right, let's go another round, then you're not just persistent, you're a Sigma male. And you don't give up because deep down, you know quitting would leave a deeper scar than failure ever could. You've bled too much, fought too hard, and learned too many brutal lessons to walk away now. This isn't just motivational fluff. It's a breakdown of the real reasons you keep pushing when the world expects you to fall. Watch this to the end, not just for inspiration, but to finally understand the truth behind your kind of grit. You don't need saving. You need reminding. 1. Giving up would feel like betraying the hardest version of themselves. There's a version of every Sigma male that no one ever saw. The one who held it together when everything was falling apart. The one who swallowed his pride, worked in silence, stayed up late, and woke up early with nothing but raw determination keeping him upright. That version didn't have applause. He didn't have comfort. He had grit, scars, and maybe a little anger, but he kept going. And here's the thing. Sigma males remember that version. They don't glorify the pain, but they respect it. They know what it took to get here. So the idea of giving up now, it's not just a decision. It feels like betrayal. Not to the world, not expectations, but to the toughest version of themselves. The one who pushed through when giving up would have been so much easier. Think about it. That earlier self didn't have proof things would work out. He just moved forward on instinct and guts. And now to stop? To throw in a towel? That would be like spitting on everything he sacrificed. That's not an option. That's not even in the Sigma playbook. Sigma males don't stick with the mission because it's always fun or inspiring. They stick with it because there's a personal code they live by. If I endure the storm, I'm not leaving before the sunrise. Simple as that. That code is what separates them from the crowd. Because most people forget where they came from. Sigma males don't. They carry every version of themselves with them. And when the current version feels weak, they lean on the memory of the one who never flinched, even when life hit the hardest. So no, giving up isn't just quitting. It's disrespecting the grind, the pain, the silence, and the resilience that brought them this far. And for a Sigma male, that's the one sin they'll never commit. 2, they see limits as permission slip for the average. Most people hear the word limit and immediately back off. They treat it like a brick wall. Solid, final, not to be questioned. But Sigma males, they don't see a limit as something to obey. They see it as something to test. To them, limits aren't real until proven real. And even then, they'll push again just to be sure. Why? Because they've learned that most limits aren't actual barriers. They're just socially accepted excuses, wrapped in fancy language like, that's not realistic, or maybe you're not cut out for it. And Sigma males don't do excuses. Not for themselves. Not for anyone. When someone tells them, you can't go any further, that's not a warning, it's a dare. Sigma males are naturally wired to question what others blindly accept. They expect resistance. They welcome it. Limits don't scare them. They intrigue them. They make them lean in, not back off. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people set limits based on fear, not fact. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of standing alone. But Sigma males already live outside the usual lanes. They've already been misunderstood, doubted, underestimated. So they've got nothing to lose by pushing 1 inch further than what's supposed to be possible. And that 1 inch, that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where growth, success, and transformation live, right past the edge where most people quit. So when the average person says, "This is too much," Sigma males say, "Good, now it's worth doing." They don't seek out easy wins. They want the things that test their core, that sharpen them, that stretch them beyond comfort. To a Sigma male, limits are just quiet suggestions made by people who stop too soon. And that's exactly why they never listen. 3. They take failure personally, but not in a weak way. When most people fail, they either blame the world or try to brush it off with a whatever attitude. But Sigma males, they don't do either. Failure hits them differently, deeper, not because they're soft, but because they take their work, their goals, and their evolution personally. They don't treat failure like bad luck. They treat it like a report card. Something didn't work, and that's on them. That mindset might sound harsh, but it's exactly why they keep leveling up while others stay stuck. See, Sigma males don't cry over failure. They study it. They'll replay the whole situation in their mind, breaking it down like a strategist watching game footage. What went wrong? Where's the weak spot? Was it timing? Planning? Energy? Mindset? No emotional fluff. Just cold, sharp analysis. And here's the twist. They're brutally honest with themselves. They don't sugarcoat their mistakes. If they were lazy, they admit it. If they made a poor call, they own it. No fake confidence. No external blame. Just a direct line between their action and the result. But here's the beauty. The self-accountability doesn't break them. It builds them, because every failure becomes fuel. Every error becomes a blueprint for a better version of themselves. They don't get bitter. They get smarter. And while others waste time covering up their failures or pretending they don't care, Sigma males quietly upgrade. They adjust the system, rewire the approach, and come back stronger, not louder. To them, failure isn't identity. It's just feedback. And if you understand the feedback, you can fix the formula. That's why Sigma males bounce back hard. Because when they fall, they don't just get up, they rebuild the entire floor they slipped on. And next time, that floor doesn't crack again. For giving up would mean agreeing with everyone who doubted them. There's nothing a Sigma male hates more than proving his doubters right. And make no mistake, people have doubted him. They whisper behind his back, laughed at his ideas, underestimated his grind, and quietly expected him to fail. Some even wanted him to. Now imagine this. After all that, after pushing through the struggle, the doubt, the long nights, he just quits, walks away, throws in the towel. Do you know what that would mean? It would mean every single person who said he wouldn't make it was right. And that's a reality Sigma males cannot stomach. Because quitting wouldn't just be a personal loss. It would be a gift to every person who ever disrespected his ambition. It would be like handing them a trophy that says, "Congratulations, you were right about me." And that's not happening. Not now. Not ever. Sigma males don't grind to prove people wrong. That's too shallow. But they damn sure aren't going to let those same people be right. That's the difference. See, most people get discouraged when others don't believe in them. Sigma males, they use it as fuel. Every insult, every doubt, every snide remark gets tucked away. Not as anger, but as reminders. Reminders of why they must keep going. Because here's the brutal truth. Most people don't want to see others succeed. It reminds them of their own excuses, their own mediocrity. And when they see someone rising above it, they need that person to fail. It justifies their own lack of effort. Sigma males know this. And that's exactly why they refuse to give up. Because quitting doesn't just mean losing. It means surrendering to the small minds that never wanted them to win in the first place. And if there's one thing a Sigma male will never do, it's hand his victory to someone else. 5. They'd rather die on their own hill than survive on someone else's. For a Sigma male, the path isn't just about where it leads. It's about whose path it is. They don't care if someone else has a shortcut, a smoother ride, or a safer route. If that road wasn't built by their own hands, it holds no value. They'd rather struggle on their own hill, full of rocks, thorns, and setbacks, than cruise on a golden path someone else paved. Why? Because the moment they start walking someone else's road, they lose control. They're no longer the builder, no longer the driver. They're just a passenger. And Sigma males weren't built to ride shotgun, even if the climb is brutal, even if no one's watching, even if no one believes in the end result. If it's theirs, they'll die on that hill with pride, because that hill, it represents freedom. It's proof that they chose their own battle. People often say, why don't you just take the easy way out? But Sigma males already know the answer, because it's not their way. It's not about being stubborn. It's about being real. Easy doesn't mean comfortable. Easy doesn't mean fulfilling. See, surviving on someone else's path means living under their rules, their timelines, their expectations. And that's prison for a Sigma. They'd rather fall flat on their face, chasing something that matters to them than win at a game they never wanted to play in the first place. This is why they don't quit. Not because it's easy. Not because they always believe in the outcome. But because turning back means trading purpose for comfort. And that's a trade they'll never make. So while the world might call them stubborn, reckless, or unrealistic, they're fine with it. Because in the end, they'd rather go out on their own terms, on their own damn hill, than survive living someone else's idea of a safe life. 6. They see struggle as a filter, not a wall. Most people hit struggle and think, maybe this is a sign I should stop. Sigma males hit struggle and think, finally, we're getting somewhere. They don't see obstacles as dead ends. They see them as filters. You know those pressure points that separate the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the builders? When things get hard, most people fold, stall, or disappear. But Sigma males? That's when they wake up. That's when they lean in. Because to them, struggle is where pretenders fall off. It's where the hype dies down and only the serious ones are left standing. And Sigma males have no interest in being surrounded by fluff followers or people doing things just to be seen. They want depth. They want truth. And truth doesn't show up until things get uncomfortable. That's why they don't complain when the pressure rises. That's the filter doing its job. Every challenge, every setback, every frustrating delay. It's not there to block them. It's there to test them. To ask, do you really want this, or were you just playing around? And Sigma males always have an answer. Keep going. They know that if something comes too easy, it probably isn't real, or it won't last. The stuff that matters, the stuff that changes you, the stuff that builds something solid, it always costs something. Time, energy, pain, patience. That's the price. But once the filter does its job and the noise is gone, what's left? Just a few, the committed, the focused, the ones who didn't quit, the ones who earned it. And that's exactly the space where Sigma males thrive. Not surrounded by crowds, but in rare air, where the pressure is high, but the company is real. 7. Their identity is built on self-reliance. Sigma males are wired differently. At their core, their entire identity is built on one unshakable foundation, self-reliance. They trust themselves before they trust anyone else, not out of arrogance, but because they've learned the hard way. No one's coming to save them. So when things go south, when the weight gets heavy, when the process gets brutal, giving up isn't just a failure. It's something far worse. It would mean depending on someone else to come in and fix it, to step in, carry the load, or pull them out. And for a Sigma male, that's not just uncomfortable. It's humiliating. They don't want to be rescued. They want to figure out themselves. They'd rather crawl through the mud on broken legs than raise their hand and ask someone to do it for them. Because the minute they hand their problem to someone else, they lose something bigger than progress. They lose control. Sigma males see self-reliance as power. It's the difference between living on your feet or surviving on your knees. That's why quitting isn't just about stopping. It's about inviting dependency. And that eats away at everything they stand for. Even in their darkest moments, they'll look in the mirror and say, no one's coming, so get back up. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they respect themselves too much to outsource their survival. The truth is, being self-reliant doesn't mean they never feel pain, doubt, or fear. It means they face those things head-on, without leaning on someone else to carry their weight. They take full ownership, full responsibility, even when it's ugly, especially when it's ugly. So when life demands more than most people can handle, Sigma males don't back down, because giving up would mean handing over the steering wheel. And they didn't build themselves from scratch just to ride shotgun in their own life. 8, they're obsessed with completion, not just victory. For most people, victory is the end goal. It's about winning the game, crossing the finish line, or getting the gold medal. But for Sigma males, it's never just about the win. It's about completion. Finishing what they started, no matter how ugly or brutal it gets. You could hand them a success on a silver platter, and they'd probably turn it down if they felt the journey was incomplete. To them, leaving something unfinished feels like mental torture. It gnaws at them. It keeps them up at night. The thought of a loose thread, an unsolved puzzle, or a story without a conclusion drives them insane. Why? Because the Sigma males, the process matters more than the outcome. It's not about just reaching the finish line. It's about walking every step of that path and seeing it through to its end. Even if that end is a disaster, there's something deeply satisfying for them in the act of completion itself. The idea of leaving something half done, hanging in the air with no resolution, feels like failure in its purest form. Winning is a cherry on top. But for Sigma males, the true triumph lies in saying, I started this, and I'm going to finish it, whatever it takes. The fact that they finish means more than whether it's pretty, perfect, or celebrated. It means they're whole, that they didn't run from the grind, the risk, or the challenge. They took it on, start to finish. And here's the thing, failure doesn't scare them. What tortures them is leaving something unfinished, knowing they could push harder or done more to see it through. So when they face obstacles, they're not just thinking about winning, they're thinking about closure. And they'll keep pushing, keep grinding, until that chapter is completely written. No loose ends, no regrets, just the satisfaction of knowing they finished what they started. 9, they know the cost of regret is far greater than the cost of endurance. Regret isn't just a feeling for Sigma males. It's a heavy weight that drags you down. And they know it. While most people fear short-term pain and look for ways to avoid suffering, Sigma males understand something deeper. The cost of regret is far greater than the cost of endurance. See, regret doesn't just eat at you in the moment. It sits with you day after day, month after month, year after year. It's that constant whisper in the back of your mind. What if I had pushed harder? What if I had taken that chance? What if I had faced that fear instead of running from it? And that's a slow killer. It lingers, it festers, it shapes everything you do moving forward. For a Sigma male, the thought of carrying that what if around for the rest of their life is far worse than enduring a tough situation now. They'd rather feel the weight of struggle in the present than drag the haunting shadow of missed opportunity into their future. Because regret, it's not just mental, it seeps into your soul, leaving a permanent scar that's harder to heal than any wound from failure. This is why Sigma males embrace the grind, the struggle, and the challenge. They'd rather take the hits, suffer the setbacks, and walk through the storm now than look back and wonder what could have been. They know that failure is temporary. But regret, it sticks with you. The sting of failure fades, but the what if stays with you forever. So while others may shy away from discomfort, Sigma males charge forward, because the pain of pushing through now, it's nothing compared to the pain of living with the question, what if I had just kept going? They'd rather face the discomfort head-on than let regret quietly destroy them from the inside. 10, they don't need applause, they need alignment. Sigma males don't play for applause. They don't need the spotlight or the cheers. They're not here for the validation that most people crave. No, their game is different. They're driven by something deeper, alignment. It's simple but powerful. Sigma males want their outer reality to match their inner vision. What's going on inside their heads, the dream, the plan, the mission, they want to see that reflected in their real world. If the two don't line up, if there's a gap between where they are and where they know they could be, they're not satisfied. They won't stop until that alignment is achieved. They don't need others to notice their progress or cheer them on. For them, the only applause worth hearing is the sound of their own life coming together in the way they envisioned it. Their satisfaction comes from doing work, staying true to their own path, and seeing the pieces finally click into place. That's why Sigma males are notorious for staying in the shadows. They don't care if no one's watching. They're not doing things to be seen. They're doing them to make sure the world around them reflects the world inside them. It's not about success in the traditional sense. It's about integrity. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're exactly where you want to be, even if no one else notices or understands. They're not seeking approval. They're seeking alignment. And when they achieve it, it's more satisfying than any applause could ever be, because they know they've created a reality that's in harmony with who they truly are. So until that alignment is reached, they keep moving, keep building, keep improving. Because for a Sigma male, it's the journey towards a harmony that matters most. Not the applause, not the accolades, just a quiet, relentless pursuit of making what's inside match what's outside. 11. Their plans are quiet, but their drive is violent. Sigma males don't make noise when they set their sights on something. They don't announce their plans to the world, waiting for applause or validation. No, their approach is quiet, almost calm, to the point of being detached. But beneath that serene exterior lies something far more dangerous. A relentless, violent drive that keeps them moving forward, no matter what. On the surface, it might look like they're just going through the motions, taking things slow, observing. But what most people don't see is the ferocity underneath. It's not just ambition. It's unapologetic determination, the kind of drive that never fades, never falters, no matter how many roadblocks get in the way. When they say they're going to do something, they mean it. They don't need to shout about it, because their actions speak for themselves. That calm exterior hides a mind that's always recalibrating, analyzing, adjusting its strategy to make sure it reaches its goal. When things go wrong, they don't panic. They don't make excuses. They don't stop. They adjust. They reset the gears and come back harder. And this drive, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stall. It simply recalibrates, shifts, and gets back on track. While others might burn out, give up, or get distracted, Sigma males stay laser-focused. They're not deterred by failure, rejection, or even exhaustion. They're not concerned with how the journey looks from the outside. All that matters is that they keep moving forward, one quiet step after another, until they've achieved what they set out to do. Their power lies in the fact that while everyone else is busy talking about their plans or celebrating small wins, the Sigma male is quietly, ruthlessly, and relentlessly moving toward the finish line. Their plans might be silent, but their drive, it's deafening. Final words, the Sigma code. Let's be real, giving up is easy. It's what most people do when things get heavy, confusing, or uncertain. But Sigma males, they're wired differently. They don't keep going because it's comfortable. They keep going because they've made a quiet deal with themselves. And breaking that deal is an option. They remember who they used to be, the version of themselves that took hits and kept crawling. Quitting now would feel like betraying him. And let's not forget, this world isn't built for Sigma minds. It rewards the loud, the predictable, the obedient. But Sigma males were never here to blend in. They're here to build a life that matches their internal code, even if it takes everything. And if you're watching this and see parts of yourself in what we've said, then maybe you're not just watching a Sigma story. Maybe you are one. Maybe you've always felt that pull to walk your own path, even when it's hard, lonely, or makes no sense to anyone else. That isn't a weakness. That's your power. You don't need the world's permission to keep going. You just need one solid reason that matters to you. Sigma males don't rely on hype. They rely on truth. And the truth is, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is how long you're willing to keep showing up when no one claps, when no one helps, and when no one understands. So if this message hits somewhere real, watch the full video. Every second of it was built for people like you, people who don't quit, even when it would be easier. There's more to this path, and it's not for everyone. But if you're still here, it probably is for you. Keep going. You're not alone in this. Do you resonate with the ideas I shared in this video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in more content about Sigma males, explore the other videos on this channel. Thanks for watching.